Hello and welcome to Bespoken Unit. My name is Paul Anthony.
And I'm CP.
And today we're exploring why some cigars are square, square also being referred to as box pressed. So Charles, we recently got in these Camacho box pressed Connecticut's, and we've previously reviewed the Camacho Connecticut. And by the magic of editing and being able to record videos later, we're going to be reviewing some of these versus the original Vitola parejo round cigar. So we're going to do a compare and contrast and discuss some of the things we're going to be talking about in this video. Camacho themselves state by box pressing the cigar, it's going to produce a cooler smoke, a longer smoke time, as well as some people preferring the shape in their mouth. So with those three things being mentioned, do you think that's the universal benefit of a square cigar stroke box pressed, or are there other reasons why cigars are box pressed as well? And do you disagree with what Camacho said? Big question.
Big question, very loaded.
There's a lot of questions in there. We've both been scurrying around researching. We've talked to Rob over at Boveda, one of our cigar gurus we always lean on. We've smoked a lot of cigars and we've talked about it. We've done a lot of research, so but I know this is a passionate topic for you. So
this is a subject that really interests me, and I think it's something that there is no right or wrong answer. There are a lot of contradictions in the industry. A lot of people who are experts are saying very different things. So through research, we can pretty much come up with some theories of our own, but as to whether they hold water, I think that that's going to be a question again of personal preference. I think that what Camacho is stating about a cooler smoke, there is some truth to that, because that when you put a box press cigar in your mouth, it's not a round shape, so you don't create an airtight seal. So when you're sucking in some of the air outside, it cools down the smoke and slows down the smoking time consequently. So that part, yes, I think there is some truth to that. Whether it's universal for all box pressed, whether it's universal for every smoker, some people might have a very tight seal on their mouth. They might, put their mouth all the way around. Who knows?
And again, every one of these is a handmade, luxury product.
Every cigar is different. Every cigar, where not one of these cigars in here should be the same. That is the nature of a handmade product.
So they're going to be as close as possible, especially for these premium makers, such as we have a Rocky Patel here, or where these are like high-end cigars. But moving on to the next question with longevity of smoke time. What's your opinion on that claim?
I think as I mentioned earlier, it should increase the smoking time ever so slightly because you're taking in air from the outside as well as air from the cigar. There might be a feeling or a sensation of a tighter draw because this has been compressed slightly. So it must have some effect on the overall smoking time. We shared we had a Rocky Patel vintage 1990 each, which are box pressed.
Yep, last night in fact.
And how long did that take? That took quite a while. I smoked like a good hour.
Yeah, I suppose it was around about an hour. Yeah, I mean this is a Churchill size, so we're talking 7 inches, so I don't think that's like massively deviated from the norm. I'd expect a regular Churchill to be around an hour, but we weren't exactly being, we weren't nursing them along.
No, so, we were really going for it.
So
which you shouldn't technically, but hey, when everyone's watching.
And then the third question or claim of Camacho is that it feels better in the mouth. I actually found box press cigars extremely awkward at first.
Yeah.
I was like, whereas it's like it's fine trying to fit a square peg in a round hole.
Exactly. Literally.
It's like, I'm like, well, I don't really understand that claim, but now I've got it, and you've talked like how some people prefer it in the hand.
Yeah, I prefer it in the hand like this. It just feels, you're pinching it between 2 fingers and you have it resting on the back of the thumb. It feels more convenient, so I like this.
So I don't actually mind a box press now. I mean, what's your opinion on the shape in the mouth?
At first, like you, it was a bit awkward.
Sure.
I think that's quite a common thing among a lot of seasoned enthusiasts in the cigar community who have yet had a lot of box press. There's one thing to keep in mind about box press cigars is that originally it was considered to be an economical choice. It wasn't done for novelty value or anything else. Basically, you had a box of a limited size, you wanted to get more cigars in there, you just rammed them in, closed the box and sent them off.
I mean, even on this Camacho box, there's a... when we got this box, I'm like, oh, Charles, are these the same size? length and kind of gauge as the original Camachos. He's like, yeah, I'm like, wow, the box is so much smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, it genuinely is. I mean, there was actually a noticeable difference. So imagine you got a couple of thousand on the boxes of these on a ship.
It's a good
quarter
of an inch shorter.
It does add up. So. So there is that. I mean, now they're experiencing a bit of renaissance. I know Rocky Patel was a huge fan. I know Camacho came out with their everyday smokes in a box press, as well as many other. I know Avo do some box presses. I mean, they're not hard to find.
Oh no.
What are some of the other claims? I mean, we've heard like marrying of flavors with respect to when you squish the leaves together, and I think the other major claim is that when they're sitting together uncellophaned in a box, that because there's more surface area close together, that they actually impart flavor together, again with the same cigar, not necessarily different cigars.
I think there's some truth to that. However, it has to be through a long aging process. For Camacho here, they're cellophaned, and the cellophanes are a square shape. There's actually they're actually folded here with a very perfect crease. So I'd expect, I feel that these were put in the cellophane after being box pressed. So this may not have any benefits in that sense unless you take them out of the cellophane and you leave them to age in a very good humidity controlled environment for a long period of time. But something like a vintage cigar that probably was box pressed for quite a while, you may have the phenomenon of oils being shared more easily between the cigars because of that short space between them. But then again, there are some that believe that this is completely false.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched many videos here on YouTube from blenders from actual cigar houses. It's their full-time jobs to blend cigars, and they 100% wholly subscribe to the fact they blended the same leaves at the same time, the same age, everything, regular parejo roll, so the round cigar, and then doing a box press version, and they go, wow, the smoking experience is far superior as a box press. And I've heard many of them state that by box pressing you're kind of squishing those flavors together, and you're creating a more even kind of story and blend, so where you're blending, Scotch whiskies, for example, when a blender is picking out these different leaves and different, crops of tobacco, that by box pressing it kind of potentially showcases their ability more favorably, because it's kind of jamming those flavors together. I've talked to other people that say that's absolutely complete rubbish. So it's like, we recently did a very extensive video on how to cut a cigar, and there's a lot of polarizing the links will be here. There's a lot of polarizing thoughts on whether it should be punch, guillotine, V-cut, etc. And I think that's where we're kind of getting to with the box press itself. I think it's one of those things like, some guys like to smoke one cigar and one cigar only. Some guys may like to smoke one shape and one shape only, whether box press or the round kind. For me, I like variety, so I have a few box presses. I definitely like these Rocky Patel vintages.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I've actually tried this before, and I've tried some of the other bold expressions from Camacho in a box press. Definitely enjoyed those as well. Would it be a smoke that I would 100% smoke? A shape I would 100% smoke 100% of the time? No. I definitely think there's a lot to offer from the regular parejo Vitola, but again, if there are certain gentlemen in the industry that 100% subscribe and believe, and it's their full-time job to blend and make cigars, that it actually makes a difference, then honestly, who am I to kind of argue with that?
Absolutely. I mean, the variety is the spice of life, and we are very fortunate to have such a variety of Vitolas to be able to choose from for our smokes. Each one may have its own benefits or its own novelty value, but as long as you enjoy it at the end of the day, I think that's the key.
So ultimately, why are some cigars square, and why are some actually made in this box press method? Well, it comes down to probably two things. One, do you subscribe to the fact that it can actually blend flavors and impart flavors and increase the seasoning of cigars when they're next to each other? And two, which is probably the bigger point, is personal preference.
Yeah, exactly.
So with that being said, there's a multitude of links below to our other cigar content, from how to cut a cigar, We're going to be talking about different humidification and seasoning techniques as well. So please check those below. As always, we greatly welcome your comments. I think this is going to be potentially a comment storm of you know, people's personal opinions of this. We would love to start and create that forum below. So please do make those comments. Trolls more than welcome, as your polarizing views are actually relatively insightful and funny at times. If you found this video useful, please like. And one more thing about the comments, if you have any suggestions on videos you'd like us to talk about in the future, please make those below.
Oh, we're open to ideas. And don't forget to caress that subscribe button and give it a click as well while you're at it, because we love our ever-growing community.
We do indeed. So I am Paul Anthony.
I'm CP.
And from all of us here at Bespoke Unit, we'll see you next time.
Take care.